else we did, that we would succeed as a result. So we set these teams up.
And these teams, the whole augmentation team concept, that wasn't something that you came to Iraq and was already in place. This is something that
no, it was entirely new. We got here, the old unit. They had a couple.
Well, what unit was that? They were
1-6.
1-6.
Yeah,
okay.
1st Battalion, 6 Marines. Through no fault of their own, they had gone through 5-6 months of kinetic fighting, and so they were just getting into this. Oh, it's quiet now. It's the city has turned around, and in that sense, we had our RIP was perfectly timed in that 1-6.
Oh, I'm sorry,
our relief in place. Okay. Our changeover with them was very well coordinated with the change in atmospherics in the city. They had just swept through the entire city. The Awani tribe, the IPs, had just swept through the entire city in February, March. Major battles, platoon and company-sized battles between Iraqi police and the terrorists operating in the area. They had just swept through there. So 1-6 was very, not shell-shocked, but just surprised at how much things had changed so rapidly. We got on deck, and it was situation normal for us. We had no history, we had no past of getting Marines killed, shot, wounded, injured on various missions. So we got in here, and they had a couple Marines at a few stations, not really with a goal, a purpose, an organization, or structure. So
I understand. I was talking with somebody, Marine earlier. He was saying that when you arrived, the augmentation type teams that were in place then, they were just really there for security. There was only actually a few Marines who worked with the IPs.
Yes, yeah, they rotated in and out of the one station that we did have, Jamaica. They rotated in and out of there on like 1 week or 2 week rotations, providing the force pro, basically treating it as an outpost, a combat outpost that you manned with some Marines to extend your sphere of influence over the area kinetically in terms of what you could see and what you could shoot at. And then with 1 or 2 Marines, maybe 3, stationed at that station permanently in order to work with the Iraqi police and train them and guide them in everything that they wanted to do. So when we got here, we sat down as a leadership. We all arrived about 3 or 4 days before the rest of the main body. We sat down and we just kind of hashed out like what would we need, what minimum requirements we need for force protection, and that was kind of, I think, the driving force for the size. And also agreed that we shouldn't have a massive number of Marines. The smaller the number of the Marines, the more they would succeed, actually, because you'd be more able to focus on the police and the AO than you would have to focus on the Marines, say, as a platoon with logistics and the administration and the day-to-day health and welfare and hygiene and good order and discipline that goes along with any kind of Marine unit.
Okay, so one of the reasons for having such a small unit was it would just require less logistical support to keep them in place?
Less logistical support and more ability to integrate with the culture. With 11 Marines, I'd say half the IPs at the station here know all 11 Marines by name. All of them know each of the Marines by face. So if we came in and we happened to rotate one out for another one, for a few days they're going to be at the station and be like, hey, who's that guy? Who's that guy? They all know who we are.
So the augmentation team members actually stay in place for the entire deployment, sir?
Yes.
Was that the intent?
Yeah. They have by far the most difficult job of any of the Marines here. And I think at Azzizziyah, these Marines specifically had the most difficult job of anybody in the company. There was nothing here. There's no Force Pro. There's no Marine unit before. We did not get company battalion level assets to do anything aside from set in some preliminary barriers. So we got down here with like 6 Lance Corporals, 3 PFCs, a Corporal, and myself. They all set to work, not me. They all set to work to build everything from the sandbag window behind you to all of the posts, to cleaning all the trash out, to setting up trash pits, to organizing where the generators are going, to running the wiring throughout the station, to manning the posts, running the COC, Combat Operations Center, working with the Iraqis. They did all of that in addition to doing everything else that they're expected of as post standards, say, and as watch standards, which the rest of the Marines do on 2-week rotations up at Sabotage.
Okay, I guess it sounds a bit unusual to only have, like you said, 10 Marines in a joint station. But at the same time, it seems like a lot of those individuals are actually, you know, of your lower enlisted ranks. I mean, it seems like the responsibilities put on them, those Marines, would be that of a gunny or staff sergeant. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And what I was saying earlier was that the whole concept here is and what we've finally come to as a company is that the company becomes like a battalion. I rarely see Captain Mines. We get
he's a company CO.
Yes,
okay.
yeah. I rarely see him or the company gunny or the company first sergeant. They less than once a week they would come down here to visit in terms of checking things out to make sure things are going on. We set our own patrol schedule. We set our own post schedule, our own ops schedule, our own command and operations center schedule. All of those things we set down here. Whether we want to add more sandbags one place or leave some off.